No one tells you what comes after the threshold. You imagine clarity, relief, certainty, but what actually comes first is panic. Not because you made the wrong move, but because for the first time, you're not moving from fear, and your body doesn't recognize this signal. For years, your nervous system has been calibrated to distortion, to adaptation, to surviving dissonance through performance. But now, you've stepped through, you've made the vow, you've spoken the truth, you've walked away from the old rhythm. And in return, your whole system revolts. This is the panic before power, the disorientation that follows a clean decision. You think something's wrong. You think maybe you made a mistake. You start questioning, what if I went too far? What if I should have stayed? What if I misunderstood? What if I didn't read the room properly? But this is not doubt. This is detox. Your old survival strategies are screaming, not because you're in danger, but because you're no longer in the prison they were designed to protect you from. You're free, but they don't know that yet. So the panic rises, not as fear of what's coming, but as grief for what you can never return to. This is the emotional whiplash of liberation. You finally stop betraying yourself and suddenly you feel unmoored, unprotected, exposed. Because power, real power, does not come with applause. It comes with silence, with absence, with the void left behind when all the old scripts have burned. And in that void, you'll hear everything. The ghosts of the men you used to be, the voices of the people you disappointed, the echoes of systems you just dismantled. You'll feel unstable, uncertain, and alone. You'll feel unstable, uncertain, and alone. And you will assume that something is broken. It's not. You're just meeting yourself without distortion, without seduction, without the filters you've used to stay functional. This is the moment most men misread. They think coherence is supposed to feel good. They think truth will bring peace. They think alignment will come with affirmation. But real alignment doesn't feel safe at first. It feels unfamiliar, foreign, almost feral. Because it's not the version of power you performed, it's the version you buried. And now that it's returning, it scares you because it's raw and it's not wrong. It's just so powerfully raw that you don't recognize it. And this is what most teachings skip. The panic that comes not before the step, but after. When the decision has been made, when the exit has been sealed, when the room has gone quiet, and now it's just you. No backup plan, no soft landing, no one clapping, just the unfiltered consequence of choosing coherence in a world built on compromise. So what do you do when you're in this place? Well, you don't run. You certainly don't apologize, and you do not retreat back into the safety of distortion. You breathe, you grieve, and you stay. You remain through the panic. You stay through the urge to explain. You stay through the ache of disconnection from people who only knew the old you. You stay long enough for your nervous system to recalibrate to what is real, truth. Because that's all this is, a recalibration. The body learning that honesty is no longer a threat, that alignment is no longer a danger, that you don't have to disappear to survive. But that learning takes time. It takes stillness. It takes holding the line, not to prove anything, but to let the new signal settle in your bones. You'll want to reach out. You want to soften. You want to reopen doors you just closed, not because it's right, but because it's what you used to do when the panic hit. That was your safety net. But you're not that man anymore. You've crossed, you've spoken, you've burned. Now comes the fire in your chest, the tightness in your gut, and the memories that haunt you at 3 a.m. to test you, not to punish you, but to test you. Will you stay? Will you hold? Will you breathe through the panic without selling out your power to relieve it? Because on the other side of that breath is a weight you've never known before, the weight of unshakable self-trust. That's what's being forged here, self-belief, No more self-betrayal. That's what this panic is protecting. Not chaos, not confusion, but power. But power has to be earned, not through suffering, but through holding. Holding the line when nothing in you feels ready. Honouring the vow when the ache is louder than the clarity. And holding the shape of the man you became when no one was watching. That shape will feel fragile at first. You'll question if it's real, and you'll wonder if you can sustain it. But the more you stay with it, the more it settles. The panic becomes stillness. The grief becomes fuel. The silence becomes peace. And from there, power emerges, not as dominance, but as self-command, not as control, but as gravity, as ground, not as noise, but as resonance and alignment. The kind of power that doesn't ask for permission, the kind of power that doesn't need to explain itself, the kind of power that doesn't vanish just because someone else feels threatened by it. This is the real initiation, not the step itself, but the staying after the step. The staying through the unraveling, the staying through the panic, the staying through the part of you that still thinks you have to earn your right to exist. You don't. You're here. You've chosen coherence. Now hold. And when the panic rises again, as it will, don't run. Sit. Breathe. Let it burn. Because beneath that burn is the signal of your future. And every second you stay with it, you become more dangerous. Not to others, but to the patterns that once controlled you. You're not falling apart. You're expanding into a life that no longer collapses every time someone else disapproves. This is power, and the panic that precedes it is sacred. Welcome to The Architect Speaks.